just level up the stage. Go! Levier.
All right, I'm in. All right, welcome to the What's Your Question podcast. I'm on the hunt for the most powerful questions that'll give me the most powerful changes in my life and the lives of others. So what's your question?
I got champion DNA. Turn my worries into plays. I don't fold, I'm not a pig. I just level up the stage. I got champion DNA.
Today's question is coming from this book, The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. The surprisingly simple truth behind extraordinary results. Now, I know we've been told to be a jack of all trades, to be all, do all, but what they didn't tell us is that most people don't fail because of a lack of talent or a lack of knowledge. We fail because of a lack of focus. Man, and when I heard that, I was like, I had been on this quest for a minute when I stumbled across this book, right? So when everything feels important, nothing else becomes important. Now, this question is coming out of this book because I understood one thing as I got on this quest, right, is that I was looking for the answer. But then I realized that to have a powerful answer, I probably need to be starting with a powerful question. So I got on this quest of crafting questions, and questions. And when I came across this book, The One Thing, man, he broke everything down. Now, this question is going to permeate through everything. I mean, for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to do this for 52 weeks. I'm going to put a year into this experiment. So if you guys got some questions that change your lives, go ahead and submit them. If you didn't like this podcast or subscribe or share it with your friends, please go ahead and do that because they help the podcast, help spread the word, and we can go ahead and build our power up of asking better questions to get better answers and better quality of life in all our relationships. Now, back to this question, right? What's the one thing that such by doing it would make everything else I do easier or unnecessary? Now, that's the question that this whole book is based on. It's called a focusing question. If y'all ain't got this book, you need to go out and get this book. I'll share a link in the show notes below. But that question, when he broke it down, I mean, he just broke it down so easy on it. He said, number one, right? Number one, what's the one thing that I could do? Now, right now, I'm going to tell you the thing that is permeating through all this stuff, but me getting on this question, so underlying little current, we're going to dive into it with other questions down the road, but it's one of them is courage, then the other one is inventory. First of all, we got to be able to take an inventory of what we already have. You see what I'm saying? Because everybody's talking about, hey, the grass is green on the other side, but they never stop to take inventory of what they already have. Once you take inventory, this is how it says right here. I'm just looking at the top of this. The anatomy of the question, right? What's the one thing that I can do? So it's only one thing, meaning that I had a to-do list. Let's say I got a to-do list of 10 things, which I always have something on my list for the week or the month or the year. Because the day is January the 1st, right? So people's setting New Year's resolutions, but they have a list of things that they want to accomplish. They got a list of things that I want to accomplish for the year. In every area of my life, I got a list of things. But I'm going to take this focusing question, and we're going to walk through how to use it. But it's out of that list, I got to take inventory first to come up with the list. And now I'm going to go back and analyze this list. I say, now, what's the one thing? If I had to pick one thing out of here, I mean, it is one thing. It's not going to be 5 things. I'm going to have to narrow it down. But it's got to be something that I can do, not something that I should do, could do, would do, maybe do. It's something that I can do. I mean, it's small enough and it's within my power that I can do it, right? So What's the one thing that I can do that's such by doing it? Now, let me look in this sheet right here. There's a little thing printed out. They say this clause such that by doing it, they say that's the lever or lever. You know, I'm from the South, so I call it lever. Some people call it lever. But the deal is, it was a quote inside the book. And that's what this whole thing about asking questions is about. It's about me getting leverage in my life to elevate my life and the lives around my family members, my co-workers, you know, it's just exciting, right? So it says if you give me a lever or lever, which looks like that, right? Just like a seesaw, that's a lever. So when I put this in there like a shovel, when I put it in the ground, the longer this handle is, the more power that I can generate from a little amount of the input. And that's what this is. That's what this question says, is that such by doing this, I pull this lever, that it'll make everything else on my list in my life easier, less friction. It's going to be easier to do this. Or some of the things I won't even have to do. Now, what does that look like? Because I got to have courage to eliminate the other things. See, that's the key thing. I'm going to have to cut off some good stuff. And that's where the courage come in, because you got to admit it. One of the main things is I can look around, I can see, I got a lot of stuff, right? I got a old video game over here. I got some VCR tapes over here. I got some weights over there. I got a squat rack. I got a squat rack over here. So these are things that I could get rid of some of those things, but they're good things. And that's where the courage come in. I got to be able to cut away some of these good things in order so I can focus on some of the great things or make some things great. But check this out. Everybody know with this focusing question, everybody know that, let's say that the sun is shining. You go outside, the sun is shining. And I always tell people, I say, this is just a test. You don't see any fires anywhere. There's no fires. There's nothing burning up. But if I take a magnifying glass, same sun, same day, same place, same person, but now I got a way to focus the energy. Y'all already know what comes next. But fire. Because it's focusing the rays, it's going to be fire. And then once that fire get big enough, the guy said in the book, man, this book is awesome. This book is awesome, man. You need to get this book. In the book, he said, you make the fire so big. Because once the fire starts, man, it start attracting folks. And then people, they get the heat, they get the benefit from the fire, and they say, hey, we want to contribute. So I want you guys to contribute. We starting the fire right now. We starting the fire. I want you guys to contribute with your questions that have changed your lives, okay? I'm going to say that again. I'm going to need your help. I'm lighting the fire, and we're going to put wood on the fire till it gets so big that people are just attracted to it and want to contribute. And that's what we're getting at. But you see, focus changes things. Now, what I'm going to do with this focusing question is it enables us to look big. Now, you got to have, I don't know if you can see this thing, but it looked like this thing is backwards, right? But it looked like a Stargate, right? Look like a Stargate. That's why I picked this thing right here, because I got gears turning, wheels turning in my head, because we're starting to think more. I want to think better and question everything. Now, here's a secret. Here's a secret. Check this out. Our superpower when growing up, from when we was age 1 to 5 is when we had our most growth, tremendous growth. We learned how to walk, learn how to talk, learn the language, learn how to use our hands and feet. We learned all this stuff. It is because we were asking questions. We were digging in for questions. This is my cat. So for some reason, she want to come down here, and she's going to be in the mix. Sooner or later, y'all get a chance to see her, okay? Her name is Yuki. But anyway, we learned so much during that time. Then as we get older, the parents, the teachers, everybody drums the question asking out of us. Stop asking so many questions. Stop asking so many questions. Then I had told this to a lady that was like, I said, hey, look, we need to get back to asking questions, right? And her daughter was sitting there and she said, you know what, Ma? No, Ma. Nobody asks questions. And I said, why is that? She said, everybody know you don't ask questions because you don't want to look stupid. You want to rock the boat. I'm saying that that's our power that's been taken from us. I want to talk to some of the young kids, old kids, anybody that's resonating with this, right? Resonating with this. They want to go on the journey. I'm on the journey. I'm on the quest. I'm just going, I'm the guinea pig. So I'm going to experiment with these questions. But this is a powerful question. But what I did for this year, since it is January the 1st, I took that focusing question. What's the one thing that I can do? Now, to put a little space there with my podcast, that such by doing it would make everything else I was going to do with my podcast easier or unnecessary. Okay. And one of the one things that I had to do is I had to come up and break down my outline, because we're going to get into that. Because a lot of times, whether it's lift the weight, now here's the deal. Here's the deal. This question, and we're going to test this question. This question, if a question is a powerful question and is a great question, then it should be universal, meaning that it should apply to every area of my life. And this question doesn't. Here's a prime example. Check this out. What's the one thing that I could do? Like I say, I mentioned the podcast and such by doing make everything else easier and necessary. And that one thing was I need to come up with a great outline. I already knew what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the book, but it's so much stuff in the book. So much stuff in the book that I didn't know where to start. It was too broad. It was too big. And sometimes things in our lives like that, when we say, hey, what you want to do for next year? Or what's your plan for the future? They say, hey, I just want to travel. Well, it's too big. It's too broad. Oh, I just want to lose weight. Man, it's too big. It's too broad. Because it's got to be only one question. We got to have clarity. So this year's got to be a year of clarity. And the way you gain clarity is with questions. You see what I'm saying? Okay. All right. So I'm looking, right? So what's the one thing I can do talking physical? If I could only do one, now I'm going to rephrase this, right? What's one thing I do with my health that's such by doing to make everything else I do to build muscle? I want to build muscle cardiovascular. Everything else I do will become easier or unnecessary. So they said I want to build muscle, or I want to be in better cardiac health. So I look at how many ways can I do that? I list them: running, swimming, jogging, playing tennis, lifting weights, aerobics, squats. Okay, what kind of weights? So what I decided to do, I said, okay, if I'm going to get the biggest bang for my buck, then what I got to do, which is going to be for this year, right? What I got to do is build my leg muscles. Build my leg muscles. That's what I came up with, because that's what the focus of question brought me to. I thought, hey, listen, all these list of things that I could do, right? I can do all of them, but this one other thing is building my leg muscles. So now I'm focused on my legs, because with bigger leg muscles, they burn more calories. Then I have better stability for building upper body and back muscles as well too, because I got a strong, firm foundation. See how I work that through? All right, let's do another one. What's the one thing that I could do in my relationship with my wife? And such by doing to make everything else I do easier and necessary. Guess what it was? I said, hey, I want to nurture that relationship. Let's go ahead and build into the plan going out to a new restaurant. I said two new restaurants per month. That's a total of 24 new restaurants. And then in my mind, right? In my mind, it's going to be it was a challenge, right? But, and I'm going to get back into this, right? I'm getting into this on Tuesday. So I'm getting into my week. But anyway, I had some guilt-free spending. And I really didn't think about it. I don't buy a lot of stuff, but I do like spending money on me and my family. So that was guilt-free spending, meaning that I could walk into these restaurants and try them out and don't care if it's good or bad, because I scheduled that, I planned that. And the real deal was to go to a new restaurant, not necessarily have the best food and complain about it. But I got to try new things. And that's what we're doing now with these questions. We try new things. We're doing something different. Somebody said the insanity is doing the same thing, but expecting a different result. For right now, hope all y'all that's watching, we're getting a different result. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. The way they do that is what they call the domino effect. I don't know if you know about the domino effect. Everybody's lined up dominoes before. You stack them up, knock one over, knock that over, knock that over. It creates like a chain reaction. Now, I didn't know this until I got into this book. That the domino effect is really like, for all you financial guys out there, which I ain't going to talk on finances as well too, because that's another part of my life, is compounding. But I didn't know that a domino, when it falls over, it can, let's say this is a domino. When it falls over, it can knock over another domino 1.5 times bigger. You see that? So this little domino knocked over this bigger domino, which knocks over a bigger domino, which knocks over a bigger domino, and it just go crazy. Let me show you what the stats say. Here you go, right here. Here you go, here you go, here you go. Here you go, 50% larger, 50% larger. Just imagine. Okay, small domino knocks over a bigger domino, okay? You start with a domino that's 2 inches. It's 2 inches right here. These two little knots on my head, 2 inches. The 10th domino can be as tall as a man. So I go from 2 inches, right? And 8 dominoes as tall as me. You see that? That's crazy, right? Now then, the 18th domino is big as a building. But I started with a 2-inch domino. See, this is the key. The 23rd domino will be taller than the Eiffel Tower. The 31st domino will be higher than Mount Everest. 31 steps. Listen to what I'm saying, man. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm getting excited. 31 steps from this. Only 31 steps on this street, on this path, lining these dominoes up. And we're going to get to this, right? It's going to be a secret. It's a secret, but that's what we're digging for. We're digging for secrets, okay? Right here. So they call that a geometric progression. They call it compound leverage, and that's focus. That's focus. Now, with this domino effect, the way they focus this thing in is that it's a law out, right? I heard it in here. I had heard this law before when you're talking about efficiency, being efficient with something. Everybody wants to be efficient. They don't want to waste energy, waste time, or waste power, waste money. They want to be efficient. So this economist came up. He was trying to find out the distribution of money in this country, right? And he came up with this, I think that's what he said. Anyway, came up with this law, 80-20 rule. If you hadn't heard it, everything I mentioned, go and look it up because it's strong. Because we can get our mindset. I get my mindset, I'm trying to convince myself, because I hadn't been taking a lot of risks. I hadn't been trying a lot. I hadn't been doing a lot of experiencing. Now, in certain areas now, I know somebody going to type into the thing, yeah, but you could do this, you could do that, you could do this. But everybody got an area. See, I may be good in this area right here where my confidence and everything, I take all these risks. But in this one area, I'm not growing in that area. That's the area I'm talking about. So this will work for you in this area, right? But like I'm saying, I'm applying it to my own area. But anyway, he said that 80% of your results come from 20% of your activity. Now listen to that. 80% of everything you got came from 20% of your activity. So if it's bad stuff, you got to look at, okay, what a little bit of activity. Because remember we're talking about 2-inch domino. That over time, see, here's the deal that we underestimate is time. And I'm going to go, it's a whole thing on time, right? But time is another part of that leverage because the time going to go anyway. So you might as well start investing now. You might as well start with 2 push-ups. Now, I tell you what, man, you see this muscle right here? You see that right there? Hey, look, it wasn't always like that. It was a little stick. But 1 year, I said, man, look, I'm going to do one set. I'm going to do one set of curls every day for 365 days. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm on legs, right? Some people, I got some sports enthusiasts out there. I know y'all out there, but this is me. This is where I'm at. So I'm starting small with where I am, right? But this 80-20 rule, remember what I said earlier in all these questions. Remember what I said earlier is that this 80-20 rule, right? If it's a rule, if it's gonna come up, it's gotta be like gravity. Meaning that it works for everybody, works in every situation. It should apply in every situation, not really conditional. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some powerful questions that are conditional, but for these core basic questions, I want to have some that are unconditional. And it don't matter. They the truth. You know what I'm saying? This 80-20 rule. And sometimes he said in the book, sometimes it may be, you know, 80-20, sometimes it may be 70-30, sometimes it may be 90-10, but it's going to be right around there. It's going to be unequal distribution. A little bit amount of effort gets a big amount of change. You see what I'm saying? Over time. So anyway, but he said with this 80-20 rule that if you go to, it's math, right? You go to a family reunion. He said 80% of the food is going to be eaten by 20% of the people. So I got to thinking, right? I got to thinking because I'm at a job. My job, I'm in sales, right? So I'm in sales. So I take our whole roster of how many products we selling. I look at the distribution. I'm looking at it. I say, man, look, that's like 70-30 right there. You got 3 out of the 10 producing 80% of the results. I said, shoot, it may be something to this. And I want you to just test it out. It should work everywhere. It should work everywhere. This is a rule. This is a law, right? It's in there. But anyway, so I said, what about my income? I looked at my income. Now, Tim Ferriss told me about this, man, like maybe 20 years ago. I don't know if y'all know Tim Ferriss. Please go ahead and check him out. But he wrote a book out called The 4-Hour Work Week. Same thing we talking right here. Same focusing stuff we talking right here. He pioneered that back in the day, right? 4-Hour Work Week. Now, he said once I identify my 20% that's making 80% of my results, that means 80%, now you got to keep this in mind, 80% is only giving me, what, 20%. 20% is getting 80%, right? 20% of my actions giving me 80% of my results. And then the other 20% of my results is coming from 80%. Let's say they customers. 20% of my customers give me 80% of my income for the year. So knowing that, I can make a decision. The other 80% of the people only gave me 20% of my income. Tim Ferriss say, fire that 80, concentrate on this 20, because if I can get more 20 percenters, then I'm going to be ahead with less effort, 80% more, less effort. See what I'm saying? That's the leverage. I was like, so I did it. I tried it. Oh, boy. I tried it. I implemented it because, I'm on this experimental game. It's like riding a bicycle, like riding a horse. You'll try it, then you get off of it, try to get off of it. I'm trying to stay on it, right? So I tried it. I found I wasn't good on the telephone, right? So I found a guy that was the best on the phone. I made a deal with him. I said, look, here's a deal. I'll get the leads. We'll split the leads. They don't count against you, but you get to reap all the benefits. We'll just split. He said, man, that's a win-win. I said, yeah, that's a win-win right there. That's a win-win. In case you don't know, that's from Stephen Covey. We're going to get into some of that too, man. You got some good questions. But both of us won by me delegating. And that's a tough thing. Remember I said you got to have inventory and you got to have that courage. Delegating. And that's what I got to do. I got to get back to delegating. And it's tough because sometimes you say, man, if I delegate this out, this is something easy. I don't want to pay nobody to do that because I'm delegating. So here's what I'm going to do, right? Check this out. When we did the compound interest, I told you about the percentages. I told you about the odds. I told you about all that stuff, right? But the other part about this time is time blocking. Now that we got now that I'm have my list now, because I said in every area of my life, I'm gonna have my wife on there. What's the one thing I could do such by doing it? What's the one thing I do in my marriage to such by doing make everything else easy and unnecessary? What's the one thing I could do in my spiritual life to such by doing it make everything else easy and unnecessary? What's the one thing I can do in my business? I'm lifting weights. I'm cutting grass. I am, I'm doing everything that I can do, but this focusing question is gonna help me focus, right? But here, time blocking. Now, the only time, because now it's going to be time for me to implement it. I got to pick a time of day, and I got to protect that time of day like an appointment. And then sometimes they say in the book, you got to build a bunker around you so don't nobody disturb you in your best time. You got to take inventory of what's the best time of day when you got your most energy, you're your most productive, and you want to save that time for yourself. Not Instagram or because later in the day you kind of wean out. So normally it's coming down to the morning. People who are not a morning person, coming down to the morning, right? We got to wake up in the morning. Okay, I got to wake up in the morning. I tried that, right? But this morning, I exercised. This morning, I did. So we got to protect it, whether it's 5 minutes. See, that's the deal, the 2-inch domino. And here's what he told me. If I'm going down through it, right? If I'm going through it and my domino is not falling over, that's what he said. Your domino ain't falling over, then it means it's too big. It's plain and simple. But you be like, man, it's little, right? It's little. I mean, it's the first step. But evidently it's not the first step. And that's what we got to do. We got to get out of the way of our minds, because our minds is against us. Yes, this thing is against us, my friend. It's against us. So keep in mind, it's against us. Because you be saying, man, I know this is small, this is simple. Baby could do this. Can a baby do it? Well, shoot, if a baby could do it, then evidently I must be deluding myself, right? Because otherwise, so maybe there's a domino before that that's smaller. Okay, what's smaller? What's smaller than that, right? Because if I'm trying to do 30 minutes of exercise or an hour, I can't do it. I drop it down to 30, I can't do it. I drop it down to 20, can't do it. I drop it down to 5, can't do it. Hey man, can I drop it down to 1 minute of exercise? I was down to 8 minutes, right? 8 minutes. I got a little 8-minute routine. But if I can't do it, guess what? I got to go down. I got to go down to 1 minute. If I can't do it, if I go, now I ain't even got to the calendar. We got a 6-day challenge calendar. The one thing, it's in the book. If you don't see it, it's on the website. I can't turn to it, but it's a 6-day challenge calendar. Because he did the research and found out it ain't 20 days, it ain't 30, it ain't 21 day fix, it ain't 30 days. He says like 66 days, and it may even be longer than that. So we can't bound ourselves in that time. That if it ain't happened, then we got to keep going. And he said the way that you do that, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, man. We're going to come to this calendar in just a minute. Come to this calendar. But I want to first get down to making the dominoes smaller, because it may get so small that you may say, hey, I just going to go down here and do 1 pull-up. That's what I told my daughter. She was trying to get her pull-ups going. I say, don't try and do 3. Guess what? Just do 1. She do 1. And it was hard to do 1. So guess what she do? What's smaller than 1 pull-up? Dead hang. She just jumped up there and just hung on, right? And tried to pull as much as she could. And that was it. But if you do it every day, if you could do it every day, then she gonna build up. That's what she did. She ended up building up. I'm gonna tell you, my daughter, she concentrate on her legs. So, man, she got some legs. Man, she be doing these hip thrusters. She the one got me to get the squat rack. Then she wanted the ab scissors or something like that. Man, she want a leg press. But that's the deal. But anyway, let's get here. Now we're gonna get to the 66-day challenge. Well, it's a calendar. that it's a calendar. It's gonna be a link to it in the show notes, of course. But on this calendar, what you can do is it's 66 days. Jerry Seinfeld, he mentioned in the book. See, I listen to the audio. Man, if you listen to audio, you're talking about another leverage, you're talking about another 20% thing. It's got to be listened to on audio. So you probably listen to this. That's right. So you're already a 20%, right? But anyway, Jerry Seinfeld said, hey, if I want to be the best guy making jokes, then I need to be writing a joke a day. So how can I do that? So he got a calendar, big red X's on the calendar for every day. I'm not a big time writer, but he said what happens is that as you get those big red X's in there, your ego takes over after so long. If you get back to past those first 21 days and you see all those red X's up there, then you be saying to yourself, man, okay. I don't want to break the chain, man. I'm put some work into this thing. I don't want to break the chain. And then you be able to press on, but you got to get over so high. I mean, you got to go so long enough for the habit to kind of kick in and your ego takes over. But I also got several calendars up there, but it ain't number like 5 days. And then I use a different color marker. Say, I'm just going to use this same, cause I'm thinking efficiency. I don't even want to give them a fresh sheet of paper. But I'm glad that I didn't, because I was able to see that when I started something, it was 5 or 6 days, 5 or 6 days, 5 or 6 days. I said, man, what's going on? Got to be a smaller domino. The domino going to have to get smaller and smaller. I'm going to have to protect my time block, and I'm going to have to put everything on a challenge calendar. But now, the other thing he was talking about, this is it right here, is goal setting to the now, point A to B. We've been talking. The quickest way between two distance is from point A to point B. This is my boy, Jim Fannin. If you ain't got that, I put a link to that in the show notes as well, too. I hope I can remember that, right? Now, this is my first podcast. If I don't, just remember Jim Fannin, zone coach. What is it? 90-second rule. 90-second rule. Breathe like a baby. All right. Anyway, 90-second rule. But that's what he said. See, one thing that we got as a superpower, besides asking questions, right? One thing I got as a superpower is I got my imagination. Everybody talking about, hey man, I wish I can time travel. Guess what? You can. You can time travel right in here. He said, you time travel into the future. And then you walk it backwards and even breadcrumbs, right? You walk it backwards. Hey, it's December 31st. I'm toasting to my best year ever. Hey, what happened in November? I walked it back. What was going on? What was I doing? Well, what I would have to be. Now I walked it back to October. So you walk it all the way back. He said the point goes not from A to B, but the point is all tasks is point B to point A and then back to point B. Point B is in the future in my mind. Everything that you're looking at right now had a point B first. Then they walked it backwards to the present, which is point A. And now I'm going to walk it out physically back to point B. And it's going to be easier because you already know it. I already had the people. We already had an idea of what we wanted. Well, we never took the time to go into the future mentally and exercise this mental muscle like it was when we was 5 years old, when we was a kid. Back then, everything was possible. And we had our imagination. Now we have our intellect that squashes our imagination saying, hey, that's not possible. But anyway, so we have to walk it all the way back to now, leaving breadcrumbs. And then as we go forward, it's easy because we already did it. Jim Fannin said in his book, he said it wasn't a meal that I hadn't already eaten twice. I already ate it mentally. So when that lunchtime came up, I didn't have to worry about what I was going to eat because I had already ate it. The decision had already been made. I had already enjoyed the meal. So to me, it's just deja vu. And it's going to get deep. That'll get deep. So your life should be deja vu. Because sometimes when I'm out and about, I see a deja vu. I said, man, you know what? It's deja vu. Feel like I've been here before. Then I stop and then I take all the notes that I possibly can about what I was thinking, what I was eating, what the surrounding. Then I run it back in my mind. I take 30 steps backwards in my mind. I mean, sometimes I don't even move from that spot. I just sit there and I just run it back in my mind, figure out what thoughts was in there. I'm going through the thoughts. I'm grabbing thoughts out, analyzing each thought. That's another thing right there. We're gonna do that too, right? Analyzing these thoughts, and I've already lived that. And now what I'm gonna be doing with these questions is how can I live that every day? So to do it by goal setting to the now, by using the one thing, by using these focusing questions. So, hey. So I went through it all, right? I went through it all. Let's see. What else can I go? Oh, okay. We here. We already did it. This podcast is a quest. Every quest needs fellowship. Every quest needs partners. Every quest needs helpers. So I'm in asking you, if you had some questions that's in your life that has changed your life, your business, your relationship, if somebody asks you the question or you ask somebody the question or you ask yourself the question, if it's helped you, go ahead and share it. And then if it make it on the, we'll mention it. One thing I know, we've heard the questions, but we just never really went in on them and tweaked them and tightened them up and polished them off and strengthened them. We just haphazardly. Because one thing I remember, go all the way back. Everybody probably heard this said, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me. We're on a quest of words. Words is the currency. So I want to be better with my words, more strategic with my words, more precision, more surgical. And these questions I believe, is going to help me. So we're going to see out that year how I progress. If y'all along with the journey, y'all helping, we're going to see how I progress. And we're going to be looking at every aspect of our lives, right? Money. Hey, I got investments. I want to get investments done. I want to spend time with my son, build relationship there, my work, my home, everything. Okay. So let's see what that's supposed to tell y'all, right? You're going to push the subscribe button. You're going to like and share with your friends. Appreciate that. Man, I really do appreciate that because I'm really excited about this. And then we're going to share it. As my progress go, I don't want to tell y'all to do it every day. I won't tell you I'm doing it every day. I got to put a small domino, right? I'm going to get this posted. I'm going to post at least once on my Instagram. I got an Instagram. I may do Facebook, but probably once on my Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, you see me, it's going to be on What's Your Question? Maybe What's Your Question.ai. Hey, that's what I want to do. One of these AI kind of helped me with some of this stuff, trying to outline. I got kind of caught up in it. I wanted AI to just print the whole podcast out and our thoughts. I said, I'm not a reader, right? And it's not my words. I said, all I need is the outline from back when I was in Toastmasters. Yeah, all I need is the outline. So I just put the outline down, and then it's all true stuff, all real stories based on me. And I'm going to share some more because I do interviews with folks, man. I bounce this stuff out folks at work, man. And we gonna share it. And we may even do a live, man. I don't know. Anyway, hey, man, I really appreciate you. Share it, like it, and then, what's your question? Share it with me.
I just level up the stage. Go! Levier.